Hi, this is Christina with the Stage Nature Center, coming to you live from the Stage Nature Center. I'm going to give us a few minutes for people to check in. I hope you're having a good quarantine as much as possible. I'm going to wait just a few more minutes to give people a chance to check in before we get started here. Hello. All right, I see a few people are joining us. Once again, my name is Christina with the Stage Nature Center. I'm a naturalist here, and I'm coming to you live today from the Stage Nature Center, where I have been taking care of the animals during our quarantine, which is why I'm here. So I'm glad that you all are able to join us. We've been doing these live streams now for a couple weeks, so that way you all can continue to see what's going on here and still see our animals. So thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be meeting Benny, our painted turtle, here in just a minute. I'm going to wait for just a few more minutes to give some more people a chance to sign in. While we're waiting for some people to sign in, I'm just going to go over a few of the basics. Like I said, I'm here taking care of the animals, so I am practicing social distancing because I'm here by myself, but I'm still continuing to come in to help with the care of the animals that live here even during this quarantine, one of which you'll be meeting today. The building is closed, and as for the current time, we're closed through the end of April 30th, but the trails are still open. So we definitely encourage you to come out on the trails if you're feeling healthy, but we highly recommend that you still practice safe social distancing. So keep at least 6 feet apart. There's plenty of room on the trails, so you should be able to do that pretty easily. So please continue to be very safe, even when coming out here on the trails. We are closed right now, so that means that we're also not doing our programs. As many of you know, we miss you all and we wish we could still be doing programs. That's why I'm doing these, so that way you can still keep involved with us and I can keep involved with you. But just a heads up that because we're not doing our programs, we are a little bit down on our fundraising, as are a lot of people. We are a nonprofit organization, the Troy Nature Society, which is who I work for, and we run the Stage Nature Center. We are a nonprofit organization that relies very heavily on the programs that we do because it is our mission to educate. So that's our main thing that we do here is programs. But since we're closed, all of our programs are canceled, obviously, unfortunately. And so if you have it in your means and are able to make a donation today, you can make a donation through this Facebook Live feed. You can hit the donate button, or you can go to our website and make a donation there. And if you want to mention that you watched our live feed to let us know that you have been enjoying them or keeping involved with us, that would be great. So if you're able to do that, that would be very much appreciated. Also, if you're enjoying this live feed and you want to share it with others, one way to get more people involved and seeing this so they don't miss it is by sharing this live feed on your Facebook page. So if you want to do that, that would be great to get more people meeting some of our animals here and seeing what we do. So without further ado, like I said, we're going to be meeting our ambassador painted turtle today. His name is Benny. I'm going to show you him really quickly, and then I'll bring him back out here in just a little bit to tell you more about him. But let me grab him. He likes to be in the water, so I'm not going to keep him out very long here. But this is Benny, and he is our ambassador painted turtle. He is wet because I had him in the water. And actually behind me here is his tank where he lives. And I'm going to put him back there in just a little bit so that way you can see him get his meal today. It's a lot of fun watching him eat. I think it is. And I'm also going to put a few things in his tank today to give him something to do and to explore. It's called enrichment. And it's important to give these animals things that are different every day so that way they can continue to use their brain and get enrichment, and it keeps them healthy and happy as far as we know, and active. So again, here is Benny. Like I said, he is a painted turtle. He's not very big, although he's a lot bigger than he was just a couple of years ago. He's actually doubled in size over the last couple years. And we did meet one of our other turtles here, Tara, a couple weeks ago, which is a box turtle. And Tara, the box turtle, she is a land turtle. The box turtle is the only land turtle, truly land turtle that we have here in Michigan, whereas painted turtles are aquatic turtles, which is why he's wet, because they like to live in the water. He's kicking around a lot here because he wants to keep on the move, and he's probably also really hungry. Benny loves to eat, and when he sees us, he associates us with food. So I'm going to put him down for just a minute, and we're going to talk about some other things with turtles, and then I'll pick him back up to put him in the tank. But I want to free my hands so I can show you a few other things. Like I've mentioned before, it's just me here doing the video camera and handling the animals and all of this good stuff. So I apologize now if I have any trouble with the camera or moving things around. I'm doing the best I can, like we all are, with doing things on my own right now. So I'm going to put him back in the tank for just a second, or back in his temporary container. So like I said, a couple weeks ago we met Tara, our box turtle. So here in Michigan, I mentioned during that last live post, we have 10 species of turtles. And I showed you this before. Oh, let me also apologize because I did figure out how to fix the mirror so you wouldn't be reading the words backward. But like technology, sometimes it doesn't always go as planned. And when I was trying to get it to do that before this live broadcast, for some reason the settings are not letting me do it. So I apologize. I'm going to play with that more today after we get off. So unfortunately, the words are the other way around right now, even though I thought I had it figured out. That's the fun with technology. So I do apologize. Let me show you this poster. So like I said, we have 10 species of turtles here in Michigan. One is a land turtle, and the rest of them are aquatic turtles. Painted turtles, which is what Benny is, and that's what this is right here, is a very common turtle here in Michigan. The box turtle is not quite as common. The box turtle is what we met last time that we met a turtle. That was Tara, and they are a species of special concern. Of the 10 species we have here in Michigan, unfortunately, 3 species are listed as species of special concern, and 1 is considered threatened, which is the spotted turtle. And the spotted turtle in these pictures right here is this one right here, which is another aquatic turtle. So we do need to do some things to help protect our turtles, and at the end here I am going to talk about some things that you can do to help our turtles. But I just wanted you to give you a chance again to see the variety of different turtles that we have here in Michigan. The largest turtle we have here in Michigan is this guy right here, and that is the common snapping turtle. And they are called the snapping turtle because, yes, they do snap. They are more likely to bite. They're carnivores. They eat other animals, and they can be pretty aggressive, which is why you don't want to mess with a snapping turtle if you come by one. So we have a variety of different turtles here in Michigan. Now Benny, the one that we talked about here just a minute ago that you'll get to meet again in just a minute, he came to us in February of 2015 by a patron that was looking for a new home for him. This patron of the Nature Center found him in June of 2014 on a playground at Waddles Elementary School. Sometimes we find animals where they seem a little out of place and they're not meant to be. Sometimes they stray a little bit far. And that's where Benny was found, and they kept him for a little bit, and then they brought him here to the Nature Center to give him a better place to live. So that's why we have Benny. We don't know exactly how old he is, but he was quite a bit smaller in 2015 when we got him. Like I said, he's at least doubled, maybe even tripled in size. Let me show you him again. Here he is. So he's gotten quite a bit bigger from when we first got him. He hasn't grown very fast. And just like humans that see the doctor, We take our animals to the vet as well. And when it seemed like he was having trouble growing, he was eating a lot. Benny loves to eat, but he wasn't growing very well. We took him to the vet to see what we could figure out why he wasn't growing. We did some tests with him. We put him on a dewormer in case he had a parasite. Oh, somebody said can't hear you when you're not close enough. Okay, can you hear me now? There's a little bit of a delay, so if somebody wants to let me know that you can hear me, just give me a heads up in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Sorry about that. So I'll continue on while I wait for somebody to let me know that they can hear me. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit closer here. Benny, again, like I was saying, we took him to the vet. We put him on a dewormer. Okay, I see somebody said we can hear you now. All right, excellent, thank you. In case he had any internal parasites, because sometimes when they have parasites inside, those parasites will eat the food, the resources that the animal is eating, and so that was a concern. But he did not have any parasites, but we did deworm him just in case. They took a look at him. They said he was really healthy. They recommended a few changes to his diet to give him a more varied diet, which we're going to talk about his diet in a little bit when I feed him. So we made some changes to his diet, offered some more different things, changed up his environment a little bit, and okay, I'll make sure I speak loudly. It's not too much of a problem for me to speak loudly because I tend to have a loud voice, but I'm hearing an echo in here, so I might be talking a little bit more quietly because of that. So I will try to speak more loudly. So again, we changed up his environment a little bit, and then Benny started to grow. They said he also might have some kind of growth issue. Could be something genetic that we just don't know about. But they've checked him out. They continue to check him out, and he is healthy, and he eats a lot, and he does grow. We do measure him. We do weigh him to make sure he's still growing. All right. So let me put him back in there. So that's how we ended up with Benny, and he is one of our ambassadors here that help teach people about the different native wildlife that we have here in Michigan. 1 second there. So the largest turtle that we have here in Michigan, I mentioned just a moment ago, is the snapping turtle. And let me show you. I showed you the last time when we met Tara, our eastern box turtle, but this is the shell of a snapping turtle. And they can get even bigger than this. So this is pretty big. Actually, let me show you. This is pretty big compared to Benny here. Quite a bit bigger. Now, Benny, being a painted turtle, he can get bigger. Painted turtles typically end up being 4 to 10 inches in size, and they can live to be about 25 to 30 years old. Snapping turtles can get quite a bit bigger, as you can see here. And this is the shell from a snapping turtle. And like I said, they are the largest turtle here in Michigan. Now, turtles are reptiles, which means that they're cold-blooded, and that means that they can't make their own body heat like we can. So they get their heat from their surroundings. That is why during the winter time we don't see these turtles, because they're in essence hibernating. They've gone somewhere to stay warm and hold on to their resources for the winter time since they can't find food. So painted turtles like Benny, they dig themselves down into the mud during the winter time to try to stay warm and to slow their bodies down during the winter. We should start seeing turtles sometime here soon. It'll depend on the weather patterns, but at this time of year they'll start to come out of their winter slumber. And during May to July is when they are breeding. And actually Benny, let me show you Benny again. Here we go. Benny is a male turtle, and I'm going to try to show you his feet here. Let's see if he'll show you. If you can see those really long toenails. So painted turtle males have really long toenails on the front foot, and they actually use that for breeding. What males will do to attract females, it's kind of funny, is that they'll tickle the head of the female with these long toenails to encourage her to breed with them. And that's why these males have these really long front toenails. All right, I'm gonna put him back down for a second. Okay, so anyways, again, they are reptiles, which also means that they give birth to eggs for their young. For the most part, they do. And turtles, they unlike amphibians, last week, we met our gray tree frogs. We talked a little bit about their life cycle, and we talked about how amphibians go through a metamorphosis. They change from when they're little to when they're adults. They look quite different. But turtles, they stay about the same in appearance. They just get bigger. For example, I showed you this. This is the snapping turtle. This is an adult shell. And these are some baby snapping turtles. So these are not alive. These were found in a nest that was not successful. And so some people donated them here to us so we could share them with people. So you can see they look almost the same as an adult. They're just a lot smaller. And actually, we have had snapping turtles nest up here by the building. If you were here last summer, you may have seen us put signs up because when they were hatching, they were crossing the sidewalk behind the Nature Center building to make it out to the pond, which was quite exciting, but we didn't want anybody to step on them because they are quite small compared to when they're adults. I see somebody asked if we ever have to trim his nails. We did trim his nails once because they seemed like they were getting kind of long. He wasn't rubbing them up as much as probably they do out in the wild. However, I looked into it some more, and they don't recommend that we trim their toenails because males' nails are supposed to get that long, and they're not meant for walking on land very much. They will bask, so even aquatic turtles, like painted turtles, will bask. They'll go out on a log or on a stump, on a rock, and take in the sunlight. So that's oftentimes when we see them is when they're sitting out basking in the sun. But otherwise, they don't spend too much time on land except to lay their eggs and to bask. Otherwise, they spend most of their time in the water. If they get startled, they'll quickly dive down into the water to stay safe. So anyways, we don't typically trim his nails, as we learned, because he's a male, and those nails are supposed to be that long. So Benny's just going to have really long nails. No, we don't paint them. Don't know if anybody was curious about that, but those nails are to, like I said earlier, help them attract a female. They tickle the head of the female. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get ready to put Benny into his tank so we can watch him eat. And then while we're watching him eat, I'll tell you a little bit more about painted turtles and aquatic turtles. Before we do that, I wanted to mention, I think I forgot to at the beginning, if you have questions, please put them in the comments, and I will try my best to answer those questions while we're doing the live stream here. I'll try to scroll through, and then if you have a question that I'm not able to answer now, I'll answer later today and in the comments question. Also, this will be available on our website later and on Facebook if you wanted to go back and watch this again. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be putting Benny in his tank right back here. So I'm going to bring the camera up a little bit closer. And I'm going to walk away for just a moment to put Benny in his tank, so you won't hear me talking, but you will see him being put in the tank. When I put him in the tank, I'm going to put some food in there with him. So some of the food that I'm going to put in there with him includes these little things called Repto Sticks. Basically kind of like a pellet diet like we feed our dogs. It's like a dog, essentially a turtle food that has all those vitamins and everything that they need in it. I also give him a little bit of bloodworms, and that's one of his favorites. They're not alive. I'm also going to put a few shrimp in there for him. He likes little shrimp that are also not alive. And then one of his favorite things is to catch crickets. So I will put a couple of crickets in there with him as well that you can see him try to catch. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in his tank. Like I said, I'm not going to talk here for a minute while I go walk and put him in his home. You can watch him here on the screen, and then I'll come back and you can get a closer up look of him eating. So I will be right back. All right, so you can see Benny eating behind me. I'm going to turn the camera around here so we can see him a little bit better. Hopefully you can see him okay. Normally we don't feed him in his tank because it gets quite messy, but for the purposes of this live video, oh, there he got a cricket. For the purposes of this live video, it's a little bit easier to see him in the tank, and I apologize for the camera. I see it's having a little bit of trouble focusing, but again, this is one of my favorite things to do, is watch him eat. A moment ago I mentioned that I put some different things in there, and I see that the water is pushing some of the things down. That's why they're going so quickly down towards him. So that stick that he just ate is called Repto sticks, and those have a variety of minerals and vitamins. Oh, that was a shrimp that he just, almost ate. Oh, there we go. Sorry, like I said, I really enjoy watching him, so I get kind of excited. So the Repto sticks have some added vitamins and minerals. The shrimp that are in there, that you just saw him eating, he really likes shrimp. I did put some crickets in there. Let's see, where is he going? And he really loves crickets. And I also put these little things called bloodworms in there as well. So in the wild, painted turtles eat a variety of things. They eat both plant matter and they eat other animals, like they'll eat crayfish, they'll eat small worms, and other types of bugs that they might end up in the water. I think that was a cricket that he just ate. You can see really well while he's swimming around here, those really long toenails. Like I said, the males use those long toenails. I don't know why, for some reason the camera's having trouble focusing. I apologize for that. So those really long toenails he uses to help him when he is trying to breed, when he's trying to mate, to tickle the heads of the female to get their attention. So the last time we met a turtle here at the Sage Nature Center, you met a box turtle, and the box turtle shell was quite a bit different. So the box turtle shell was a little bit bigger. It wasn't quite as streamlined as Benny's is, and that's because box turtles live mostly on land, although they do bathe in shallow water. Benny's shell here is streamlined so that way he can swim around more easily. The other thing that was different was that box turtles have a hinge on the bottom of their shell. The bottom part of the shell is called the plastron, and that the hinge on a box turtle allows them to close their shell completely like a box so they can hide. These turtles can't do that. They can pull their head in, they can pull their legs in, but they can't close that bottom shell completely like a box. So that's something that's a little bit different about them. Let's see if I can get a different angle here. I'm not sure why the camera's having trouble focusing on him. Again, I apologize for that. Trying to hold my hands as still as I can. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a little difficult to do this when you're by yourself, but we are trying to practice safe social distancing just like everybody is right now. That was a Repto stick that he just ate. So one of the other things that's different about Benny from other aquatic turtles is the colors. He's a little bit more colorful. He's got yellow and reddish stripes and blotches on his legs and on his head. They can, although I've never really seen much on Benny, they can get some reddish coloration on their shell as well. There we're looking at his behind. That's not his face. That's his tail. They can have some coloration on their shells too, although Benny is very young or very small, and maybe as he gets larger he'll get some more colors on that shell. There is another turtle here in Michigan that a lot of people confuse with painted turtles. Let's see if I can, sorry, I see kind of a reflection here. There we go. It is called the red-eared slider. And the red-eared slider, actually scientists are not 100% sure that they're native. They think they may have been an introduced species, or they might be part native and part non-native, which means that they were not originally here from Michigan. They were brought over in large numbers for the pet trade, and they may have hybridized with with native turtles. So they're not 100% sure if red-eared sliders are native or not here in Michigan. But red-eared sliders, they're called that because they have a red kind of blotch or stripe on either side of their head right near their ear. Whereas Benny does not have that. As you can see, he's got a lot of yellow. He's got a lot of yellow on his head instead of those red blotches. So I know last time we also talked about what their shells are made of. Their shells are not made of wood or plastic. Their shells are made of bony material, actually keratin, like the material that is in our hair. So turtles, like Benny here, cannot jump out of their shell, like you see in the movies. They are attached to their shell. And actually their shell makes up their ribs and their vertebrae as well. So these types of turtles, they do like to eat in the water. They don't eat very well on land. Turtles don't have teeth like we do. They do have mouths that are shaped differently. They actually have what we call beaks. And that's the part that's the front part of their mouth there. Turtles, like snapping turtles that eat meat, have more hooked beaks, and turtles that eat more vegetation for mashing, they have beaks. Oh, is he gonna get out of his water here? They have. Oh, he's trying to get a cricket. Oh, and he got it. Let's see if we can see him there. So turtles that just eat vegetation, they have beaks that are more kind of roundish and flat. They're not really hooked. Like I mentioned earlier, one of Benny's favorite foods are crickets. So he'll go after them a lot. Let's see, he's kind of looking up out of the water here. I think he ate most of his food. There's still some more stuff in here. Let's take a look. I still see a couple of the Repto sticks and some shrimp. Let's see, he might come back over here. Benny definitely associates us with food because whenever we come into the nature center, he'll come over to the side of the tank when he sees us. He's very interactive, and he spent probably most of his life with people. He was found when he was more than half this size, so he was very small, probably a hatchling. All right, while we watch him a little bit more, I'm going to scroll back through and see, oops. Oh, for some reason the comments have disappeared. And I'm not sure why I can't see them. I'm doing these live screens on an iPad since I'm doing this by myself. And I'm not sure what happened. I apologize, I don't see the comments popping up anymore, which hasn't happened before. So far, the comments I've been able to see them. So I apologize if you're asking questions right now. For some reason, they're not showing up. The iPad is just not doing what I want it to do today. All right, I am going to put one other thing in Benny's tank. Like I mentioned earlier, we like to give them some enrichment. We like to give them things that they have to investigate, that they have to use their mind for to keep them active, their mind active and their body active. So since it looks like he's mostly done with his food, I'm going to go put a couple of things in his tank here, and then I will be right back. I'm going to turn back around here and you can watch him while I go put some things in his tank. back here. So what I've put in Benny's tank, I'm sorry, the camera does not want to seem to focus. I'm just having all sorts of trouble with this iPad today. I put a little aquarium decoration with a fish that's attached to it. Oh, look, he's investigating it. Usually when we put new things in his tank or things that he hasn't seen in a while, he's very curious about it, but he will be kind of cautious until he knows that it's not something that's going to hurt him. The other thing I put in his tank is a ball, and sometimes he does actually like to chase around the balls, and sometimes he will try to eat the balls. But again, we do the enrichment to help keep their mind and their body active, especially since they live in a much smaller environment than they would out in the wild. And there he is checking out the fish. I'm going to try to hold the iPad as still as I can. Oh, but the camera just doesn't want to focus. And unfortunately, I'm still not seeing anybody's comments or questions. I'm not sure why they disappeared from the screen here, so I apologize. I will make sure after the program that I go back and look at those comments so that way I can answer your questions. This hasn't happened before, and I'm not sure, I don't have anybody here to kind of problem solve it for me while I'm doing this video. Oh, he just ate something else there. So it looks like he still has some food that he's trying to eat. Like I said, Benny, he does eat a lot of food. Even though he hasn't grown very fast, he does really put the food down. Oh, he's checking out the fish. Now, he may not just be biting it because he thinks it's food. He might be biting it to check it out to see what it does. But I think in that case, he realized, nope, that's not real food. So I'm going to go back and try to find some real food here. Actually, the ball does not seem to be facing him today. He's not quite as interested in the ball as he normally is. But he is going to check out this fish again. We don't leave these objects in there with them all of the time, because if we left them in there with them all of the time, then eventually it wouldn't be enrichment, because it wouldn't be something new for them to investigate. They would just get used to it like anything else in their tank. So we will leave them in there for a little bit, give him some time to explore and investigate, and then probably tomorrow I'll take them back out and we'll put some other things in there to give him some things to investigate. And he's still finding food, which is good. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't normally feed him in this tank because it gets kind of messy. We feed him in a separate tank, and then that way it's easier to clean. But he's cleaning quite a bit of it up for me, which is awesome. But I will be going and doing a cleaning of his tank afterwards, so that way it's not all messy after he's done here. All right, I think I'm going to turn the video back around, and you'll still be able to see him behind me. Oh, wait. You'll still be able to see him behind me. Oh, it still hasn't figured out yet that that's not something he can eat. All right. And while we're doing this, I'm trying to figure out what happened to the comments, and I apologize, I can't see the comments. I feel like I'm disconnected from you all. Let's see here. I don't know why they've disappeared. All right. Sorry about that. All right. I'm going to turn the video back around. Okay. And should be able to see Benny behind me. He's right back there up on his log. I don't know if you can see him. All right. For some reason, I still don't see any comments, but I hope you guys are still able to see him. I hope you've been able to hear me. I will go back through again at the end and check out the comments to figure out, see what questions that I missed. And I've been playing with the screen here and I can't figure out what happened to my comments. So I hope you guys are still enjoying this live stream. One thing that I would like to leave you with are some things you can do to help turtles. They, just like a lot of other animals, pollution is a big problem for them. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer here. You can still see him behind me. Pollution is a big problem for them, especially in the waterways. So keeping the waterways clean of pollution, of garbage, is very important. We do have Friends of the Rouge is a group that is a volunteer group here in Michigan, in this region, and they go to different areas of the Rouge River. The Rouge River is the one that comes through our park here in Troy, and they do go to different areas and they do cleanups. We're assessing the waterways to make sure that they are as clean and healthy as they can be, and they're a wonderful organization. So again, they're called Friends of the Rouge. So if you live here locally and you want to help volunteer to keep our waterways clean, that is something you can do. So that's one thing you can do to help turtles. Also, don't take them home as pets if you find them. They belong in the wild. We do have permits for all of our animals here from the Michigan DNR that shows that we have them for educational purposes. Also, don't use pesticides, insecticides, any kind of chemicals, especially around waterways. That stuff can get into the waterways very easily and then travel very far. So even if it's not affecting animals that live right around here at the nature center or right around your home, because water travels really far, it can go downstream. The Rouge River goes down to Dearborn, so it can go down a pretty far distance. I don't know if you can see Benny right there. It looks like he's settling down a little bit now. Also, don't purchase turtles that were captured in the wild, because we don't want to encourage people taking animals from the wild. The more we take animals from the wild, the more of an impact we have on their population. And with that said, we also don't want to release turtles into the wild that have been in captivity. As I mentioned with Tara, if you watched this live stream about box turtles, when you put them back into the wild, if they've been in captivity, they might introduce diseases or anything that they've been exposed to while they've been in captivity to the wild population. And that can cause a lot of problems with the wild population. So if you have a turtle or an animal as a pet that you can't take care of anymore, don't just go put it into the wild because it can affect the wild populations, but also then those animals might not be able to take care of themselves as well. And then something else you can do, looks like Benny is trying to eat the fish again. Something else you can do is if you see a turtle crossing the road, which pretty soon here we'll start to see turtles crossing the road as they try to find places to lay their nests, lay their eggs. You can very safely, make sure you do this safely, watching for traffic, move them across the road. Now, if you see a turtle moving across the road, you always want to make sure you move them in the direction that they're going, because if you turn them around and put them back the other way, they're just going to turn themselves right back around and try to cross the road again. So make sure that when you are helping a turtle move from one place to another crossing road, that you always move them in the direction that they were headed, because they have a reason for heading that direction. They might be looking for a place to nest. They know where those waterways are, so they might be trying to get to that area where they're trying to get back into the water. And then something else you can do is you can actually report sightings of turtles and other reptiles to something called the Michigan Herp Atlas. It's www.michiganherpatlas.org, and they keep track of sightings to help measure trends and changes in populations, so we know what's going on with animals in the wild. And that's something that you can easily do to help scientists learn more about what's going on with our native reptiles and amphibians. So again, I would answer more questions right now, but I don't see any questions popping up. I think it's something that's happened here with the settings on my iPad. So I will go back through after this session is over and answer those questions. I apologize for that. Also remember that this video will be available on the website as well, on stagenaturecenter.org, as well as on our Facebook page after I end this live stream. Again, I appreciate your donations. I see that some people have donated. You can, again, donate on our website as well to help keep us going, help us keep these animals fed and healthy. And if they need to go to the veterinarian or the doctor like we sometimes do, we can do that as well, and especially while we're not able to do our programs right now. So we miss you guys. I look forward to when the Nature Center reopens, so that way we can start doing some in-person programs with you guys again. But again, please get out on the trails and practice safe social distancing, but enjoy nature while you can. And we will see you when we reopen. This Friday, I will be doing another live stream at 1 p.m., and hopefully I'll have some of these technical glitches figured out by then. And we'll be meeting our American toad, which is another animal ambassador that we have here at the Stage Nature Center. All right, well, Benny and I are going to say bye. Hope you enjoyed meeting him today, and I hope to see you guys again sometime soon. Take care. Bye.